Attorney Love has a lot, and like I said, I support everything she accomplished. Like she's well accomplished attorney, one of the best out there as far as prosecution goes, as good as she can be. But she is not. These are her witnesses. I think we kind of forget that because she's considering these people hostile witnesses when really she's a hostile prosecutor. You see what I'm saying? Like she's not a people person at all. And I don't know what she's like outside of court, but in court, when it comes to the people that she wants to give her information, it's like she's pretty much essentially like a bully, like holding a person down and punch him in the face 1,000 times and saying, say something nice to me. Like that's her approach to get what she wants out of these people. And it's completely not working. Like all of these witnesses are not helping her at all. She's trying to bully her way into information. And I'm gonna tell you something. Like, if y'all don't know, I was in the military, right? And and I was in Afghanistan. Our strategy in Afghanistan for a bunch of years was, we pretty much go over there, and if you look at us wrong, knock your head off. That's how it was at first. And then we realized that we were losing the trust of the people. Attacks were up, right? So they were attacking us left and right, doing anything to us, right? Eventually, they came up with a strategy called COIN, like COIN. It stands for counterinsurgency. And that whole strategy was about, we are going to be exceedingly nice and kind and polite to these people of Afghanistan, the citizens of Afghanistan. And that's going to make it so that they are more willing to give us information about bad actors in their community, right? So that was the approach that us as the military took. Now, that's the type of approach people normally use when they want to manipulate somebody into getting them to do what I need them to do, right? But Attorney Love is the complete opposite. She's pretty much like 2005 Iraq and Afghanistan. She's over there just destroying her own witnesses, destroying their life purposely because they're not telling her, they're not starting out the testimony, giving her all she wants. So she immediately turns on them and just start flipping. She's like 10 minutes into this testimony, into Miss Bennett's testimony, and she mentions this lady's wife. I mean, I said her wife, I'm tripping. She mentions her mom, right? And she mentions her mom in a way that would be looked at as insensitive, right? And us as viewers, we don't know the background of the conversations that Bennett and Love were having beforehand. But Miss Love knows the conversations that they were having. And Miss Bennett obviously told her, I don't want to talk about my mom. It's an extremely tough situation for me. I got locked up, and when I was locked up, my mom passed away while I was in custody. I didn't, she felt her mom got sick out of nowhere on her, and she wasn't able to handle it, and she was never able to grieve properly. She let it be known to Miss Love before she came in front of us. She let Miss Love know, like my mom's situation is a very sensitive one for me. I don't want to talk about it. Please don't talk to me about it, right? And Miss Love, 10 minutes into her examination of this witness that she supposedly got close with over the months and all that, she says, was your mom alive in this date on 2013?
Was your mother alive in 2013?
You had to ask me like that about my mother?
Ma'am.
Why you say, was she alive? Like,
Did you have a family structure around you in 2013? Miss Bennett, Your Honor, could we? Ms. Bennett, I'm going to move away from that, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the first time that you and I met, okay? Do you need a moment?
Miss Bennett, just let us know when you're ready, okay?
I'm ready, but did she really have to do that, like, for real?
You're subject to examination, but just let us know whenever you're whenever you feel you're ready to go forward, okay?
I'm ready, Judge. I talked to Miss Love about my mom like that. That's a tragic situation for me. Like I haven't talked about this. I haven't grieved about this.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, madam.
Ms. Bennett, I'm gonna wait until you tell me that you're ready to move to.
Come on, Miss Love.
And I apologize for bringing that.
You ain't even gotta apologize. I know you did it on purpose. It's all good.
And it pretty much made the lady break down. Not pretty much. She broke down in court, right? The Miss Bennett breaks down in court, starts crying, and is like, did you have to ask that question like that? Like, did you have to ask about my mom like that? Was she alive? Like, why did you ask that? And it's just like everybody in the court now people, everybody was paying attention already in the court. You can see it in the video. But when she responded like that, now everybody is like, when I say everybody, I mean all the attorneys, because the camera's off of the witness. The camera's facing the court, everybody in the courtroom. Now everybody's looking. You see some people smirking in the back. Like, if y'all look hard at the video, look at Attorney Shard's face, because he's looking like, wow, she just messed herself up with her own witness. That's the beginning of her testimony. That's very early, like 10 minutes into the testimony. So she's, from that point forward, she's not giving Attorney Love anything after that. She's now, they're asking her, is she okay? Are you okay? Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Apologies. Apologies. I didn't mean that. She didn't apologize like properly though. The judge is like, sorry, Miss Bennett, are you okay? Let us know when you're ready to go. And Miss Bennett, like, she's talking through her tears. She's like, I'm good, but she didn't have to do that. She know I felt about my mom. I didn't get to grieve properly. She did that whole rundown, right? I see a question. How you think the jury feels? I know for a fact, I don't know for a fact, but let me just say this. Now, y'all say, if you were in a jury, how would you feel about when you look at Miss Love doing this to witnesses? When you look at Miss Love treating witnesses like they're the ones that are on trial, it's going to make you look at Miss Love negatively. It's going to make you take the side of the other people. She looks like she's bullying people into stuff, trying to force them to say stuff that's either not true or that they don't have any information about. We can't tell you, I can't tell you how many people got up on that stand and Miss Love tried to get them to say something that they never said, or they don't remember ever saying, or they don't even know anything about. Right? So Bennett from 10 minutes in she switched. Love is not gonna have an easy time getting anything of substance out of her, because you said I give Miss Love too much credit. Do some research. You'll be surprised how bad she is at her job. She's in over her head. I don't think she's bad at her job, but point out the research I should be doing on her. I noticed she lost a district attorney race a few years ago, but bad at her job? No, she's just in an extremely hard situation. This case is almost unprosecutable, right? Fonnie Willis put her on a dummy mission, essentially. This is a dummy mission for any prosecutor. You understand? So I'm not going to judge her ability to do a job on this case. This is a dummy mission that she's on. However, she does not have people skills. You understand that? Like, I don't understand like what has her talking to these people like this, but she 1000% is not going to get anybody in that courtroom on her side if this is the way that she handles her own witnesses. We're not even talking. She's not cross-examining the defense witnesses. These are the people that she's trying to get to help her out. And she's doing them like this. She has a long trial ahead of her because she just don't know how to talk to people. But let's get back into it. So Bennett is pretty much she's gone from there. She's lost. The state lost her from that point. She broke down. She's like, no. Let's see what we got here. Let's move a little bit after this now. She gathered herself. She said, you know what, go ahead. I don't even, and she said it in front of the courtroom that Blue Skies, you're right. She shouldn't have taken the case. I don't think anybody could have won this case on the prosecution side. If they didn't have some of those defendants taking pleas, I don't think they would get a single conviction. Out of 28 people, I don't think they would get one conviction if they didn't have people take plea deals, because they have no evidence. Their evidence is they need people to come into court to testify. If they don't have that, they have zero case. But anyway, let's get back to this. She asked Ms. Bennett, Attorney Love asked Ms. Bennett, do you know DK or Thug? She says, no, I don't. She says, asked, "Are you afraid of Jeffrey Williams?" And Bennett laughs. She laughed at her. Y'all remember that? Did y'all hear that? She laughed at the question and said, "No." But they kind of somebody objected to that or whatever. But she still answered the question. She said, "No, I'm not." She pretty much like said under her breath, kind of, "I don't even know. I really didn't even know none of this was going on until you told me." So I don't know if that's true, but that's what she said. Well, she pretty much said, "I didn't know who he was till you told me who he was. Y'all told me who he was." I definitely don't think that's true because she done said many times after that she knew who he was. Oh, so then eventually, because I didn't realize that they had moved on to a new crime. I guess because Quinn wasn't available at the time. But Miss Bennett is here to talk about some other incident, some robbery where supposedly Young Thug DK and supposedly Thug's brother came into their house, and we find out that who the person that they were calling Thug's brother is Buck Buck, the same person that Adrian Bean kept referring to on the phone when he was talking to his wife. So they mentioned Buck Buck a whole bunch of times. So essentially, that's what they're saying, that these people ran into her house on May 13th or May 12th or 13th in 2013, right? So, and she's saying, essentially, this lady is saying, that never happened. I never told y'all that happened. I don't remember making a police report like that. The police said I walked there back in 2013. Why would I walk? I had a Porsche. I had money. I was doing okay for myself. I didn't walk to no police station to tell them that Young Thug and them robbed me. No. And I didn't even know DK back then. That's pretty much what she was saying. So that was actually a much quicker direct examination than I expected it to be once I found out why she was there. And then cross-examination started with Keith Adams, but they really couldn't. It was like the end of the day, so they kind of ended it. But they really couldn't do much because they needed to go over their notes because the defense was given a chance to talk to Miss Bennett in the back while she was in the holding cell. Did I start it out by saying that they arrested her? I think I did. So they arrested her. So Miss Bennett was coming into court from jail. They actually arrested her because she failed to appear. She failed to appear when she was supposed to. So the defense had to go talk to her while she was in the back. They wanted to ask her what was going on, what was happening. So then Keith Adams, now he really gets into his bag on Friday when they started trial, right? And he brings up, like, you remember us talking back there? And she's like, yeah, I remember. And he's like, do you remember telling us that the reason that you were kind of standoffish with the prosecution was because they have been harassing you for the last couple months? She's like, yeah. And he's like, in fact, didn't you tell us that Investigator Hamilton sexually harassed you? And I said, I know these people ain't sexually harassing witnesses. I know these people ain't sexually harassing witnesses while they're doing investigations into one of the biggest trials in the history of the state. I know this man ain't that perverted. You could throw this whole case off. You could get this whole thing thrown out because you want to be nasty and you can't keep your emotions and your hormones in check while y'all are investigating the case. Sexually harassing a lady. She say, telling Miss Bennett, when this case is over, me and you, we should do a thing. We could be something. We could be something. We could be something special. My man is investigating one of the biggest cases in the history of this state, and he can't leave the witnesses alone long enough to get through this case. He gonna jeopardize this whole thing because he's a horny boy, right? So she's like, yes, he was harassing me. I had to block his number. I had to block the man's number. Okay, they put his whole name in there. Lieutenant Rashid Hamilton, my boy, what was you on? I need you. I'm looking directly in the camera so I can see, like, me and you. I don't know what type of lieutenant. Are you like in the police force? That's what they said. Law enforcement investigator. Lieutenant Rashid Hamilton. I'm taking unknown's word for that name. I didn't look that up specifically. They looked it up for me. But my G, you couldn't keep yourself in check long enough to be professional long enough to investigate a case. No, Killer One, she 1000% has to be thick. I'm listening to the voice. I feel I'm not, now. Excuse me, y'all. Let me deviate from this from the trial real quick. Cute and thick is the vibe I'm getting. I don't know. They showed a picture of her when she was at a club back back in the day, when she was turned around with her free King Slime shirt on. You understand? So she was for sure one of them ones in that neighborhood, in that community. She was one of them ones, and she was confirmed a trap queen. Okay, she was. How many witnesses has he harassed? Exactly, Blue Skies, and he's a lieutenant, right? So most people would be scared to tell on him. You understand? Most people would be scared to report him. This is one thing that I had noticed, right? This is my first time ever seeing a trial where the witnesses are not afraid of the court. Normally, when people go into court, the reason that they start spilling so many beans is because they're intimidated by the entire proceeding. They're intimidated by the police that's in the building. They're intimidated by judges. They're intimidated by prosecutors. They know prosecutors have the power to give them charges and lock them up and stuff like that. But the people testifying in this case, the ones that are formerly street people, they've been talking crazy to the prosecutors. They've been answering what they want to answer. They don't care about perjuring themselves. They don't care about nothing. They've been doing and saying what they feel like doing and saying up in there. I've never seen this. You understand? So, none of them seem to be afraid of going to jail for a little perjury time. I don't understand it. They act like that's not the same type of prison that you get for any other crime. But, these witnesses have been different from anything I've seen before. Y'all let me know, have y'all seen this amount? And I don't know if y'all been paying attention to me from when when the trial first started, or more importantly, when the first major witness got on the stand besides Belknap, Trontavia Stevens. I said that Trontavia Stevens essentially is the first over the hill. He's going to take all the arrows. He'll probably get in trouble by the state for perjury or whatever, because he's actually had a plea deal that he had to adhere to. But I knew for a fact, I knew I made a prediction. The way Trontavia Stevens testified would inform all the rest of the people in his position on how they would testify going forward. And essentially that's what we see. Trontavia Stevens is like, I don't remember. He's not remembering things that just don't make sense to not remember. You understand what I'm saying? But he stood on the fact that, I keep hitting the microphone. He stood on the fact that I don't remember that. I don't know. I don't know how old I was. I don't know when I was born. I don't know this. I don't know that. He stood on it. And then now we see it going on again. A lady is saying, and Adrian Beans was just egregious, but this lady on the stand now, Ms. Bennett, is saying, yeah, I didn't, they asked her if she ever had multiple phones. She's like, no. And then a little bit after that, she's like, yeah, that other phone number. Yeah, that's my other phone number. Yeah, I never said I didn't have multiple phones. She just don't care. She just saying anything in there. And they just don't care about perjuring themselves or something like that. Right. So, now, Keith Adams is doing his thing. He asked her. He eventually asked her, like, about, is your boyfriend Ola Player? She's like, yeah, that's my baby dad, former boyfriend. She's like, yep, that's him. And he's like, do you know him as King Slime? She's like, no, I don't know him as that. So then he puts the video, a picture and evidence where she's at a club with a t-shirt on that say Free King Slime on the back and Ola Player at the bottom. I'm talking about back to back. Like, soon as she said she don't know him as King Slime, immediately the next question was, do you see this picture with you wearing a shirt that says Free King Slime with a picture of the man in question with Ola Player's name on the shirt? She's like, yeah, I see it. I remember that day, but pretty much somebody was in the club passing shirts out and I put it on. That was her excuse. I just think it's hilarious. But that's what she said up in there, and they just moved past it. I really don't know what Miss Bennett's aim is here, but I just know that she been, this is like a mental exercise for her, because she been like, well, you asked me this, but this is what really happened. And she just been telling everybody she know for a fact that Young Thug, DK, and some dude didn't break into her house, put a gun to her head, take $4,000, take no Beats headphones, take heroin. She's like, how could they take heroin from my house? We didn't sell heroin. Like, you know, yeah. What was that? Just Lynette Williams. She's like, yeah, I can't see that picture. Like, you know what you said, you remember the date. It's that man's face, big as hell on the back of that shirt, his name and his other nickname. Like, you know who that was. But like I said, they just don't care. Like, they just been up in this court saying anything. And it's funny to me. I'm just laughing at this joint. And so then also we get further in and I'm starting to realize who this lady is, who she really is, which is she's on the side that's opposite of YSL. She's pretty much on the op side. She's rival. She's, this ABG thing. She was convicted of being associated with ABG. She said she don't even know what it means. Attorney Love said, you don't know, ABG don't stand for Atlanta Blood Gang. She's like, I know it for sure don't mean that. I know it don't mean that. It don't mean Atlanta Blood Gang. I'm like, this lady is hilarious. But so she got convicted. She said pretty much the reason she was convicted of this with this gang affiliation thing was because everything that they said her ex-boyfriend was associated with, they put it on her too. But she said she don't know what ABG means. She wasn't part of it. She was not in the gang, but they said she was in a gang. So then I realized, then they also brought up Donovan Thomas. She was actually friends with him too. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm putting this together now. That's why Attorney Love thought this was going to be the slam dunk witness that they was going to have, because she's on the side of the people that have an issue with Thug now, even though they used to be friends back in. Well, I'm saying allegedly because supposedly nobody has confirmed any of this yet. But ABG is Lucci in them. Somebody just said, well, Lucci. Okay, I didn't know that part. So I did know all of these people were friends at some point. The part that we have yet to get the connection on, or I haven't, because like I said, when this whole beef thing started between these two sections, I was tucked in. I was somewhere else, right? So the part that we have yet to get a witness to come on the stand and say is where the split happened. Like, at what point did they start this beefing thing, right? She a bloodette. That's funny. So at what point? So they were friends. They showed the picture of Thug and Donovan Thomas a while ago with the whole Rich Gang thing, and they posted a caption saying we brothers and all that. So at what point did the split happen? At what point did this beef happen where it started to get deadly or started to get violent between these two groups of people who were just recently friends? I'm assuming that they wanted Trontavia Stevens to explain that, but he gave them nothing. I'm assuming that they also wanted Miss A. Bennett to say it. She's also giving them nothing. And also because when they first asked her was she scared of Thug, and she laughed, it didn't make sense to me at first, but I get it now. She's saying, like, it's like, why are you gonna ask me if I'm scared of one of my rivals? So no, she wasn't scared of Thug, and actually they probably, probably feeling like they got something for Thug. So I feel like we are now seeing that the state has no control over even the people that are considered rivals of YSL. Like they don't have a way to really figure out how to crack the people who have the insider knowledge. Even people who previously gave them all the information they needed, they're having a problem cracking them as on the witness stand. And I'm waiting for DK too. I see Lynette Williams say that DK is also one of those star witnesses he also has a plea deal. So is he going out like Trontavia Stevens, where you like, if you're gonna have to put me up for perjury or revoke my probation, you're gonna have to do it, but I'm not always being godly. Shout out to them. You're gonna have to revoke my Walter Murphy is another one of those star witnesses that because he's a founder and because he was around since the beginning, he has the information that the state needs. He has the keys like Trontavia Stevens, but he didn't give it to them. If anybody is going to know why these beefs started, if anybody's going to know who put the hit on who, if anybody's going to know who actually did the shooting or the robbery or whatever happened, it will be one of these people. But if they don't give him anything, then the state's case is slowly falling apart. The only reason why I say that is the thing that's going to be hard to get out of no matter what happens is the actual RICO charge itself, because you already had all these other people admit to that part. You see what I'm saying? So the only thing they will need is for one of these people to come in there and say, Thug was in that with us. Now, if you remember all those plea deals, all those plea hearings where they were getting them to like say yes, ma'am, to all these questions and yes, sir, to all these questions, none of them were asked the question, was Jeffrey Williams a part of the criminal street gang with you, YSL? So because none of them said that in the plea hearings, that's something that somebody is going to have to come and say in the courtroom. If none of them come in the courtroom and actually say those words, he could get off with that. And he could completely beat it because they don't have evidence of none of the rest of this stuff.